we are with Dr. Blizzard and continuing to talk about or hear from him about his life and experience and the grace of God. And last time we left it off getting ready to graduate high school and choosing Columbia Bible College. So why don't you pick it up there?
Well, as you know, my dad was in the Coast Guard, and he really loved it, and he wanted me to, again, participate in some way in the Coast Guard Academy or in the Coast Guard. And so when he knew that I was not going to go into the Coast Guard, he realized that my testimony was that I was going to serve the Lord, and he thought that was not a good thing. And I remember he was the electrical inspector for the city of Fort Lauderdale until he died for about 16 years. And I had my car that I purchased when I was 15. But the problem is it broke down. One night we were coming back from West Palm Beach, and it threw a rod. And my 38 Chevrolet, my beautiful wide wall tires and all, it was done. And so I was actually taking my dad's car and I was driving him from the city hall going back home. And I decided, well, I'm going to tell him that I'm going to go away to college and study for the ministry. So he told me, he said, and understand this, my mom and dad love me totally, and I have no question about that. And so as I was driving him home, I could hardly keep my foot on the accelerator because I was going to tell him, I'm definitely going to college. I'm going to study for the ministry. And so as I told him that, he said, listen, he said, you'll never have anything. You'll never be anybody. You'll be a beggar all your life. I mean, he just laid a whole litany of things that he thought it was negative for being a pastor. And of course, some of the aspects may have even been true to some degree. But again, a servant of the Lord is a servant of the Lord. And he has no higher calling, no matter how small the church, no matter how little he's paid. He does it as unto the Lord. And so he said, well, we're not going to help you. If you go away, we're not going to give you any help at all. And you'll have to be on your own. I said, that's all right, Dad. I believe that the Lord will take care of me, and it's one way or the other. And so he just didn't like it. So I got ready to go away to college, and I asked him, can I borrow your trunk? He had a little Coast Guard trunk. He said, go on to use it, take it, so forth. Anyway, and then when I was ready to go, my mother had a friend that was a Christian, and she was 100% for me. And so she was there when I was leaving because she wanted to be with my mother for one thing, being her friend and everything. And I'm trying to get on the bus to go 650 miles away from Fort Lauderdale. And my mama's holding on to my arm. And she said, don't go, don't go. I said, Mama, I must go. I must go and serve the Lord. And so finally she got turned loose. I got on the bus, went up there and got up there, and it didn't have anything. I had $65 on my bus ticket. That was what I had. And so I got up there and I didn't know what, and the one guy was checking out what to do about, getting my room assignments, getting what they will require, and the money. And how much money you need. Well, I was short about $75. And so a couple of my friends came by and gave me $5. They said, here, this will help. So I thought, well, what am I going to do? Well, Lord, what should I do? I thought, well, I'll pray about it. And then I thought, my mom and daddy aren't as tough as they think. I mean, mean as they might think they are or going to be. And so I gave them a call. I said, I'm short about $60. I said, will you loan me $60 until I get there this summer, because I've got a job every summer. And they said, all right, we'll. So when I got back home, I paid them back. But, I knew that they were not, they didn't like what was happening to me. But, they were not against me in that sense. Even though they said, oh, we won't. Well, that worked out. But here's how it worked out. That I worked day and night. I studied day and night. I worked in the kitchen. I was always back in the kitchen. I scrubbed floors. 5 o'clock in the morning, I'd put the stoves on for the cooks to come and to have it ready for them when they got there. And I served food. I did everything to, again, pay for my bills, whatever I had. And to the story, I must add that because I was never out there, but in the providence of God, I was. Between semesters, the new students came in, and I was out eating in the dining room for probably the first time in a long time. And I saw this girl sitting about 3 tables over from me, and her name was Gerda. And I saw her, and I looked at her, and I saw her smile, I saw her actions, and I said, that's the one. That's the one. And I asked the girl next to me, I said, who is that girl over there? She said, that's my roommate. I said, what's your roommate's name? And I said, I want to meet your roommate. And so we did, and we were married a year and a half later, after I finished school. But anyway, everything I anticipated with her was absolutely right. And anyway, where do we go from there? As I kept working through the days and time, when I went to settle up at the cashier's office, I said, what do I owe? Because I didn't know exactly. She said, here's a check for you.
Now this is at the end, right? You're going to graduate, you're done.
That's it.
And how much was that check, you remember?
I don't, I was about 100, I think $100 and some dollars. Yeah, I had, anyway, that would get me home. But then I went to home with Gerda and worked up there for the summer and got married then in September. And the wonderful part about it is the people that I've met along the way. I met her folks. I met her brother. Well, I met her brother in college. And he said, you never talked to me or anything, paid any attention to me until my my sister came to college. And I said, well, I really wasn't interested so much in you. But anyway, and I met these individuals and heard their testimonies, how God took these German people and had German nuns, not nuns, but sisters, that were a group that, again, had a part of the pietist movement that had happened in Germany after Luther and Lutheranism and so forth, the pietist group. But I met some of those wonderful individuals, and to hear about Pop's testimony, how that these sisters came by and they gave them tracts and told them what to do in relationship to Christ and salvation, and how wonderful that the testimony was. And he'd been a German who would drink and smoke and do all of that, and then when he became a believer, he said no, and he took his pipe or cigar out and he threw it out the back window, and Carl, his son, a teenager at that time, said, you want me to go get it back, He said, no, I'm done with it. He said, I'm a Christian, and I think that is not, healthy, and it's not right. So no more drinking, no more, smoking. And he said, change. And he was a baker, and he would bring home fresh bread all that summer. I'm telling you, I had every kind of a roll and every kind of a bread you can imagine.
Now this is Gerda's father.
Gerda's father. He was really a wonderful, simple, he'd been a woodsman over in Germany. In fact, again, when the 3 sisters that were were mother to my wife to be. They saw him out in the snow. He was down there drunk out in the snow. They brought him in the house. They warmed him up, and one of them married him.
Wow.
That was Gerda's mom. But and the people you meet along the way, has just opened the vista of understanding what it is to know believers and to walk with them and support them. And even when they have their difficult times, you're there for them, and that's so important. So that we got married, and we went on from there.